Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. Curry, one-on-one. Irving puts it up. It's good. Kyrie Irving from downtown. The three, steps back, crossover, puts up a three. Rebound James. Second. It's over. It's over. Cleveland is a city of champions once again. The Cavaliers are NBA champions.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Good evening, Cavs fans, and welcome to another installment of the Block, the Shot, the Stop, Cleveland Cavaliers podcast brought to you by the people over at the Blue Wire Podcast Network. My name is Tim Daniel. Joining me tonight, as always, we got the three of us here tonight. Kevin Lynch, Skylar Webker. I think tonight the three of us could have ran a three-man weave better than the Cavaliers did. So, I don't know. Do they even run that? Did NBA teams even run three-man weaves anymore? I don't think so.
I think you're dating yourself.
Yeah, probably. I mean, they might have needed to use it tonight because everything else kind of seemed to fall apart in the second half. But all right. So on today's show, not quite ready to clinch the 1 seed. Obviously saving that for episode 100 this week of the Block, the Shot, the Stop, so we can break this baby out and have a good time.
Oof.
My office is a little too small for me to shake it, though. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that episode, unless I just get a bunch of paint tarp and throw it over everything. But get the ski goggles. Yeah, do the whole number. Want to talk about just the lack of effort. Seems like post Mitchell injury. Kevin's got silver linings with Big Kev. And I don't know. Should we get into the whole DPOY debate that's been going on? Should I get on my soapbox later in the show?
Yeah, let's do that later. Let's do the game first.
Perfect. So,
yep. So,
well, Tim froze up, so I'll take it from there since he teased the silver linings. We'll start out positive, and I'll give you all three, Skylar, and then you can decide which one you want to talk about first. Three silver linings. First and foremost, Donovan Mitchell did not tear his Achilles tonight, which it looked like that could have been a possibility. I know they were saying ankle, but it looked like he was grabbing almost at the back of his ankle, and I stopped breathing there for a few minutes.
I think we all did. I think we all, as soon as Mitchell went down, just where we are in the season, and oh damn, this not good at all.
Yeah. Silver lining number two. They continue to shoot really well from 2-point range, 72% tonight from 2-point range. Unfortunately, that was coupled with 26% from three and 58% from the free throw line, which contributed to a below average offensive performance for the Cavs. But when this team is aggressive, particularly getting to the baskets, they are really good. And that, even when the offense has been inconsistent, that has been consistent. So we can talk about that, and maybe that the Cavs need to lean into that more. Silver lining number three, Ty Jerome came back and he was phenomenal. So
he was.
So you tell me which of the three do you want to start with?
Let's start with Ty Jerome. 5 games gone, comes back in and does exactly what you and I talked about last game. He was an instant spark plug. There was a moment there where the Kings were kind of pulling away a little bit, and Ty Jerome hits a floater, hits a really tough. I think it was just a tough shot on the elbow, and then hits a wide open three.
Are you talking at the beginning of the fourth quarter when they kind of had their one Cavalanche for the game? Is that one you're referring to?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
The one Cavalanche of the game. He's, I mean, he comes in, instant spark plug. When he starts firing these shots and hitting all these very difficult acrobatic shots, you're thinking, okay, these guys are going to rally. They're going to kind of get their way back into it. But it just didn't seem like anybody wanted to get behind Ty Jerome to help, close that out.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I was looking because I made note of, because they had that Cavalanche where they were down, was it as many as 15 or so at end of the third quarter? I think they were down 12.
21-79.
12 to start the fourth quarter. And then the first 6 more minutes of the quarter, they dominated. Actually, they came all the way back, took a 2-point lead, And then they took Ty Jerome out of the game. And I made note of it because they took him out with about 7 minutes left. And so from him coming out of the game to the end, they were up 2 and they lose by 7. So they're -9 the second half of the fourth quarter without him. So I thought not only was he really good, but he was really good on a day where not very many Cavs were really good offensively.
Yeah, and like I said, they needed that. I mean, this game easily could have been a 30-point blowout.
Yes, and I am tempted to go into my Ty Jerome needs more minutes, even if it's at the expense of Darius Garland. I mean, like I'm not. I'll go into it a little bit, maybe not as much as it, but like the data I know, Ty missed the last 5 games, so that's skewed. But the data since January, which now is 2.5 months almost, is that Ty Jerome is playing exceptionally better than Darius Garland offensively, and he has more size. He has more size, and he's not an all-world defender by any means, but he doesn't get hunted the way Darius Garland does. He contribute on the boards a little bit more. Obviously, Darius Garland does a lot of things better than Ty Jerome, but I mean, my eyes tell me the same thing that the numbers do, and that's Ty Jerome's been playing a lot better than Darius Garland for about 10 weeks or so, since before the All-Star break.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, I think that kind of plays a big part in the sense that, I mean, it's not necessarily great that Darius Garland's playing bad by any means. Well, I shouldn't say bad, but that Jerome's better. But it's nice to have the depth. But yeah, I think, as you said, especially in these closing minutes, and where Garland's been great for those last 3-4 minutes of games. Jerome's kind of been great for the 16-17 minutes he's been playing for the most part throughout the year. And tonight, obviously, having him back, you can see how many dividends that played for the offense when they're making that run you guys were talking about. But yeah, I'm all for it, especially as we get closer and closer to the playoffs. Give me as many Ty Jerome minutes as you can possibly fit into this rotation.
Yeah.
Well, not even just Ty Jerome minutes, but just like tonight, Sam Merrill, 16 minutes, and he was only to give you 0 points, 2 rebounds, no assists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why is Sam Merrill getting 16 minutes with that when Isaac Okoro had 18 minutes and he looked fantastic tonight?
Yeah, he had another good game. Awesome. I agree with that. I mean, I will say some of that is variance, right? Sam Merrill's had a lot of really good games. Tonight wasn't one of them. Not that, but I guess the reason is, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, Skylar, but that your answer is because Kenny's consistent with his rotations for the most part, no matter how guys are playing. That's like what the answer is. He believes in consistency more than reacting within a single game. And I think over the course of the season, he's right about that. I do think he'll need to change that thinking a little bit come the playoffs and be a little bit more reactionary.
I agree. I think the game plan and the Cavs are probably really predictable to everybody in the league right now because the minutes are always the same. The lineups are always the same. So I think that's why we're kind of seeing these tighter games, the teams that know that, okay, Darius Garland's not going to drive to the paint because he doesn't want to get hit. So they're getting him, 5 foot back from where he normally hits his floater. So I agree that Kenny has been very consistent all year and it's been a strength, but I think they're just getting too predictable.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And this is actually an exercise. I guess I'll tease it. I don't want to do it right now, but we're going to do it before the playoffs. And if there's 240 minutes in a basketball game, right? 5 guys play 48 minutes a piece combined, right? How do you want to split up those 240 minutes in the playoffs? You want Donovan Mitchell playing 40 of them, right? You want Evan Mobley playing 40 of them. Say you want Jared Allen playing 35 on average on down the line. So we're not going to do it right now, but I guess something for us to think about and something for listeners to think about, like how do you want to split up those 240 minutes and knowing that you're not going to split them exactly the same all the time, but for the sake of argument, how would you want to split those up against Boston, which is a very, specific matchup for the Cavs where some guys that play regularly might not play quite as much. And some guys might see their minutes increase just because they're, better against Boston for whatever reason.
Yeah, I agree. For the record, to kind of make sure I know we're all down and frustrated about tonight, and we should be. It's only the second team that swept the Cavs this year.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a team they won't see again this year. So
yeah. It's a team that's probably not going to get out of the play-in too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and well, let's touch on. Okay, well, I had the 3 silver linings. We don't need to talk about Donovan Mitchell because I don't want to jinx it. Thank God he's healthy. Apparently, I'm sure he'll have a sore ankle, but other than that, let's leave that there. The one other silver lining, Tim, I know you froze up, so I'll say this out again. They were 72% tonight on 2-point shots. And this has been something, even when the offense has been inconsistent, most games they are consistently shooting well above league average from 2-pointers. So it's almost as if when this team is aggressive, they're better offensively. I understand that for a large part of the season, they were the number 1 3-point shooting team. That's no longer the case because they shot so poorly for a while. But I just think I think I want to see a bigger variance, meaning they're shooting 2-point shots for every 1 3-point shot instead of a 50-50 mix.
I 1,000% agree with that. And just the aggression, I think the aggression of driving to the paint opens the offense up so much, especially when you have the shooters this team has. Like you said, they're not the top 3-point shooting in the league anymore, but what we've seen in Garland's strength when the offense is going well is his ability to drive and dish, whether it's to someone in the dunker spot, finding someone in the corner, like an Okoro, like a DeAndre Hunter. And they haven't gotten that a whole lot of late. Mm-hmm. And I think, like you said, just like attacking the paint and deciding from there and having that decision-making process is where Garland's really at his best. And you haven't seen a whole lot of that. And tonight you did see maybe not from the Garland end, but you saw from Jerome, and you saw a few other guys do it. I thought Mobley and Allen offensively, they were really in sync together and did a lot of really good things. But it's got to be some of these things that has to become part of your offense. It doesn't have to become priority 1 by any means, but the way that they play, it's got to become something where they can lean into that a little more, especially, the first round, none of us are really worried, right? Mm-hmm. We feel like they're going to take whoever that is to, at worst, 5. From there, you play the Pacers or the Knicks in round 2. That's when you got to really start putting your offensive game plan together, and that's got to become a part of it.
Yeah. And I don't know, like you said, the being more attack the paint or seeing the weaknesses that the other teams have and exploiting that. Tonight, Sabonis had a great game, but there was definitely a hole in it where they could have attacked him. He's only had 3 fouls against him tonight, but they could have easily attacked him because he had 7 turnovers. Yeah. And that's a guy that you should be driving against and making him drive to you, create more turnovers, create more foul trouble for him. Losing Sabonis most of the game to foul trouble, that would have probably really helped this Cavs team.
He doesn't get fouls called on him, though. He does not get fouls called on him.
Yeah,
he's also the best rebounder in the world. So,
but the one thing about Sabonis is a very good player, but he can't protect the rim. So I agree with Skylar in the fact, especially offensively, you should be attacking him because unlike a lot of other teams have a good to elite rim protector, like the Cavs have both Allen and Mobley for that purpose. But there is not a lot of resistance when you go to the basket against the Kings. And when they did it successfully. I think they should have just done it more. So, Okay. So, all right, we'll leave that there. And then I wrote down, I didn't mean to make this a whole segment, but let's go for it. So I wrote down 3, I don't know, brown linings, if that's what you're calling it, whatever the opposite of silver is. And since I gave Skylar the choice last time, I'll give it to you, Tim. I have 3. My 3 brown linings are Darius Garland.
Okay, that's out the way.
The other one is DeAndre Hunter contributing as much as we think he is. Negative 28 tonight.
Yeah.
And then the third one is the aforementioned 3-point shooting. So which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's do DeAndre Hunter. Let's talk about it.
So I looked into some numbers. He has been, for the most part, very good offensively, particularly shooting the ball. A couple of below average games lately, but overall, you got to be mostly happy with his shooting. The things that have been a little disappointing, especially I've been looking mostly at the last 12 to 15 games when it comes to some of the stats. He's doing a lot less playmaking and a lot less cutting than he did when he first got to the Cavs. He's not contributing as much outside of shooting threes offensively. And for as much as the talk at the deadline was we need an athletic wing to guard athletic wings on the other team, there's a lot of defensive numbers with the Cavs that they're actually worse defending perimeter players since they acquired DeAndre Hunter. So what do you think about that stuff? And that's cherry picking some stuff, but what do you think hearing those stats? What do you think between those and what you're seeing with your eyes?
It's pretty visible.
Yeah.
Don't be wrong. Do the trade 10 out of 10. Still love it. Still like him a lot as a player.
100%.
But yeah, what you brought him in for is the Jaylen Browns and the Jason Tatums. And, I wouldn't say the Giannis's by any means, but guys like that, big wings, Pascal Siakam, players like that, to help out with guys, to make it longer for Evan Mobley, give Evan Mobley a little bit more of a breathing way on the defensive side of the ball. And he has not been providing that. You're 100% right. What he does do is nice, but he does need to get back to, high screen pick and rolls and drive to the paint, just like the whole freaking team needs to get back to high screen pick and rolls and getting to the paint. He is a much better cutter than he has shown because he hasn't shown he's a cutter. So we need to get back to that being DeAndre Hunter and being using his full bag of offensive abilities. And right now it's just kind of more catch and shoot, though he did have a couple nice plays in the paint tonight.
Yeah, and the other part about it, and I'll turn it to you for the DeAndre Hunter. The one thing I didn't mention though was, for it's going on about 15 games, he's averaging right at 4 rebounds a game, despite playing over 25 minutes a game. For a guy who they're counting on to kind of, he's effectively their third big man, right? And a lot of the time, like he's playing power forward as much as he is small forward. So you would hope for a little bit more contribution for him on the backboards as well.
And I think that's the problem with DeAndre Hunter is that he's doing it or Kenny's having him do it and making him play up a size where let him just be the wing guy, shooter, defender, everything like that. Because if you look at his stat line, he'll have 2 blocks, 2 steals. Like he's getting, on the defensive end, but it's like he's trying to play up to an Evan Mobley or up to a Jared Allen versus, hey, we need you to be on the perimeter and guard against wings and guard against driving. So I think you guys are right. I think he needs to just be what we thought we were getting or traded for him, in being the 3-and-D wing guy.
Yeah, so I think there's an argument that even if you're going to play him with only one of Mobley or Allen, have someone else slot in as the 4, because if he's the guy that you need to guard, such as tonight, guard Zach LaVine and oh my gosh, who
DeMar DeRozan?
Yeah, DeRozan, yes. Who the two of them combined for 65 points tonight.
Well,
right?
LaVine also got 26 seconds to shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that too. But yeah, I mean, maybe we don't focus on him as much as your small ball 4 when you're only playing one of the big guys, and leave him as the small forward and rotate out, have him play more with Dean Wade. Right. I mean, Dean Wade has been out sick. He only played 3 minutes tonight, which I'm not sure really even why you brought him back if he was only going to play 3 minutes.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe they need to just lean into you are when you're in the game, you're a small forward and your primary job is to be an excellent defender, and your secondary job is to hit open shots and cut off the ball.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much more lethal the team is, and this is not to pick on Sam Merrill, but if DeAndre Hunter is in the 3 kind of spot coming off the bench versus Sam Merrill, who is getting absolutely cooked on the perimeter.
Yeah, no, for sure. Sorry, go ahead, Tim.
I didn't have anything. I'm sorry.
No, good. Let's have a little bit of the 3-point shooting. Actually, we'll go there for a second. So this is the stat I looked up. So at the beginning of March, the Cavs were leading the league in 3-point shooting at over 41% a game. Since then, I think it was 15, maybe 16 games, including tonight. They have shot over 40% only like twice in 16 games from 3. So this is not like a short-term problem. This is like they have not been shooting the ball well for 20% of the season or so, right? So what and I don't have the answers other than just shooting better. I think there's something to be said for the offense isn't running as well. They're not getting as clean of looks from three. I think some of it is the guys you rely the most on to hit threes have been slumping. I mean, it was well noted that Mitchell and Garland were slumping for a while. Now it seems like especially Mitchell is shooting the ball well, but other guys, some of the bench and filler guys aren't. But I don't know, Skylar, like other than my excellent analysis of do you need to shoot the ball better, is there anything else that maybe you could add?
I do think the attrition of the season is where we're at. These guys are, I mean, we're what, 3 games left in the season, 4 games left in the season.
Mm-hmm.
And, they've kicked ass for 62 of them. Multiple long win streaks. So I think these guys are just either they're tired by being at the end of the season, which I definitely get it as somebody who's not in shape as a peak NBA athlete, get it. Or they're just bored and waiting for the playoffs to start, the kind of what we've always seen out of the Golden State Warriors, where they're just bored with the regular season. But you'd like to get the one last win first before you turn on the coast mode.
Yeah. So Tim, I'll let you jump into 3-point shooting. I just wanted to set you up here. How often do you think the Cavs are going to win when Mobley, Mitchell, and Garland combine to go 2 of 17 from 3?
Nightly. They're just that good. No. It's good. It's high. Depending on the matchup, because you play the Heat and you shoot like that, you have a chance because the Heat can't shoot besides Hero. But to kind of piggyback of what Skylar's saying, Sam Amico, who's been covering the Cavs for our lifetimes, it feels like, not to H him by any means, he's a very good writer. It's kind of been saying that, like, from being around the Cavs a lot, he's like, I feel like they're checked out. He's like, I just feel like at this point they're mentally checked out. So maybe it is just getting that last win, and then you can kind of roll with it. I know we'll do the classic debate after they do clinch the 1 seed of the rest versus rust debate. I'm sure that'll come up in an episode when we get there, but I do think that plays a part in it for sure. Like you said, Kevin, just kind of the offense not running as smoothly as it has in the past. And it just seems like it's kind of just like seeing how things go and rolling from there. But it's also a lot of like tonight where you see they get down 12 and it's like, all right, we'll put it back together and we'll be fine. And then they have an awful stretch at the end of the game. So I just think they're a little checked out, man. And I think, to be honest with you, I think they've earned the right to be checked out.
They need one more win during that right. Or a Boston loss, which is probably not going to happen.
Which both play on the same night.
Yeah, so they play Knicks and 2 games against the Hornets. So
yeah, that
I don't
sucks,
think
because Tuesday they both played the same exact time.
Yeah. So Tim, I don't disagree with most of what you said. Skylar and I actually talked about, I think on it might have been last Sunday's pod, about like just kind of relating that these are human beings that are playing basketball, and the fact that they hadn't stayed a night in the same city for more than a night or 2 in a row in 6 weeks, all that stuff. I will say now that they've been back home for over a week, and I was expecting them to check back in like here over the last week. And so, and it seemed like it was going that way through the first half of the San Antonio game. Like they played so well in the second half against the Knicks to blow the doors off that game. They had a 21-point lead at the beginning of the 3rd quarter against San Antonio. And since that happened, is like at halftime of that game or something, they checked back out, and they've been checked back out for the last 6 quarters. So while I agree, I understand your point and I agree with it. I think I had more empathy for that during that long stretch where they're traveling all over the place, never in the same city. Now that they've been home for going on 9-10 days, I would expect them to be a little bit more kind of locked back in and focused. Yeah,
that's fair. I wanted to see them win tonight because I wanted to see them win at home. And I have a chance again Tuesday. They clinch the 1 seed at Rocket. I would much rather they do it there. But yeah, I think you have a great point as far as like how long they've been home with that as well.
Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to turn it to you guys. Skylar, I'll go to you first. Like besides the segments I brought, besides like silver linings and brown linings, what else did you see from this game, for the better or for the worse?
I don't know much. I don't know if I could tell much from this game, but from like a season standpoint, because we're so late into it, I get checking out. I get boredom. I get it. I get the attrition of the season. But there is something behind momentum, and you'd like to go into the playoffs with some sort of momentum, because as the Cavs homer, the ultimate optimist, it does feel like we're kind of skidding in the sakes of momentum. The team doesn't look as polished. The team doesn't look as ready. So I don't know. What do you guys think as far as, is momentum a real thing? Does it not matter because we're taking a break for the play-in tournament anyway?
I think momentum's a real thing. More so,
Sure.
I think rhythm's a real thing with basketball.
Mhm.
Basketball is such a rhythm sport that when you're shooting well, it seems like your mechanics can be way off, your feet cannot be set, and you're going to make it, right? And there's times where you have the most open shot you've had in your entire NBA career, and you line up everything, and everything's perfect, and then you back rim it, right? So I do think. The momentum thing, I think going into the playoffs with momentum, I think that might be a little overrated, especially because they're going to have a week off between the regular season and that. I do think going in with a good rhythm and a good, and just feeling good about yourself and your team, I think that is a real thing that I would like to see him corrected. Whether it gets corrected these last 4 regular season games or it gets corrected in that week before their first playoff game, I don't care. Like, it doesn't really matter at this point. But so I guess that's kind of a little bit of a cop-out answer. But I think more the Cavs being in a rhythm and finding that kind of almost like, unbeatableness that they had the first about 60 or so games of the year that's been missing for about the last 15 or so.
Yeah, I agree with Kevin. I think that this is kind of finding being the Cavs again. I think it's just going to be the biggest thing for them, and I think it's certainly possible with them. They are going to this fully healthy, and Iris is trying to break the door down here real quick. So
you're okay. I got something I can pick up with there. So we talked on the last show about. Tim and I did about how maybe we were a little overreactionary in March, that they ended up going 11-5, which is a 55-56 win pace. And, so maybe it wasn't as bad as we were making out to be. On the flip side, I have another stat that maybe like validates some of our, questioning of this team. After tonight, since March 1st, in the last 19 games, the Cavs are 6-13 against the spread, meaning even the games they won, they're closer than the smartest predictors of sporting events in the world think they're going to be, right? So, and prior to that, the Cavs were number one with a bullet against the spread. They're still, even after that 6-13 slide, they're still number 3 in the league at like percentage of, winning against the spread, right? So, while I do think maybe we overreacted to some things, they aren't, and I'm not a big believer in you have to win every game by 20 just because you're playing a bad team, but like they're playing below the incredibly high standard they've set for themselves for like 5 weeks now.
Yeah,
it's felt like it.
Yeah. And it has, and the eye test tells you that too, right? Like we have some stats to kind of back it up. But if you watch this, all 78 games of this team, like we have, and like some of our listeners have this year, it looks like a little bit different team, these last few weeks than previous to that.
Yeah, right now in the last 15 games, the Cavs are 22nd in the league in assist to turnover ratio.
Nah, not a great thing, especially when you have 2 all-star guards in your backcourt. That should be something that you excel at.
Yeah, 1,000%.
All right. Well, any other thoughts about this game, or let's?
Yes.
Okay. No, I'm gonna ignore whatever that thought is and move on to a quick preview about the Bulls. Former number 1 Bulls fan, Tim. I'm gonna let you go first. What are your thoughts about Tuesday night?
That you got to win it. It's a big one, obviously. Let's clinch home court at the Rocket Arena. Let's do it. Let's knock it out. Let's take care of it. But all joking aside, this is a Bulls team who has been really freaking good for about a month now. They beat the Lakers twice. One of them was on an insane shot by Josh Giddey. Josh Giddey and Kobe White have been awesome. Like, I don't really know another word to describe how well they've played other than awesome for a few weeks now. While the Cavs have had this stretch though they've really struggled, the Bulls have been really, really awesome to play, to watch play on a nightly basis. So Giddey and Kobe White have figured something out. I don't know what it is, because like, if you think stylistically, they don't make any sense together as a backcourt. But, and then Modest Buzelis has really taken a step forward since the team kind of cleared some guys out as well. He's been really fun to watch for that team as well. But I mean, the Cavs are still a better basketball team. They know what's on the line in this game. And this is a chance to have your 16th team of the year you sweep. It's maybe you can make the case your biggest rival that's not the Celtics. Probably franchise history-wise, it probably
franchise-wise.
Yeah, franchise history-wise, probably is the Bulls. But yeah, I think this is going to be a really, really interesting match to see, as the Bulls are climbing and playing so well, and the Cavaliers have been really up and down for a couple weeks. I'm excited to see how this one matches up.
Yeah, and Skylar, I'll turn to you with this. Like, in this last 15, 16 game stretch that we were talking about the Cavs sliding, the Bulls are 12-4 in their last 16 games. So this is one of those, you don't look at the overall record and see if the Bulls are 5 or 6 games under 500. Look at the record from, the last month or so. And they've been playing as if they're one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the NBA for that amount of time.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it coming into this game. Like, let's not look at the season record, because the Kings don't have a great season record, but they were a team that had something to play for. With tonight's win, they've clinched their at least play-in appearance.
I believe that.
Let me make sure that's. Yes, they have officially.
Yeah.
Yes, they have officially clinched their play-in playoff. Or play-in playoff, ticket.
Yeah.
Where, and then in the East, I mean, the Bulls, yes, they're playing well lately, but they're still a game to. Oh wait, no, they're clinched now. The Raptors are 29th. So the Bulls aren't playing for much, actually. My mind is just changed.
No, what they're playing for is to get up to that 8th spot and only have to win 1 game in the play-in instead of 2. Or they actually have an outside chance of even climbing up to the 7th spot and getting to host that 7-8 game. So they're not playing for their play-in lives, so to speak, but they're definitely playing to get a better seed within that play-in and a much better opportunity to advance. Because if you're the 9 or the 10 seed and you got to win 2 games, especially if you're the 10 seed, you got to win 2 games on the road. That's a pretty tough pill to swallow.
Yeah. And before we even know the result Tuesday, they really match up stylistically better against Boston than they do Cleveland. So they probably feel like they want that 7 seed that they can get. Not saying they would beat Boston by any stretch of the matter, but it's definitely a better matchup for their personnel than the Cavs are.
Yeah. And like you said, Tim, the Bulls have several players who are playing maybe their best career basketball right now. You can argue that Josh Giddey is playing the best basketball of his career. Like Kobe White had an incredible stretch. Was it last year or the year before? But like, he's kind of matching that right now.
Yeah, he was 3 weeks in a row. He was Eastern Conference Player of the Week, something like that.
Yeah. Like Kevin Huerter's been resurrected from the dead these last few weeks, and so I was looking some of these recent games. Patrick Williams is contributing, who I kind of like mentally
my biggest miss of all time in draft prospects.
Yeah, so I think this is a classic like. It's a harder game than it looks like it will be on paper, for sure. I think if the Bulls are going to win Tuesday night and lock up the number 1 seed Tuesday night, they're going to have to earn it, because not only the Bulls playing well, but they have some stuff to play for, and they're playing with a ton of energy, and they have a lot of young players that kind of are in the, don't know any better. They probably think they're equals with the Cavs, if we're being honest.
For sure.
So
Josh Giddey definitely thinks he's Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So All right. Well, with that, we'll go ahead and get out of here. One for the last time notes: if you are in our March Madness bracket, make sure you get a hold of us. I do want to call out either Jason Most or Owen Rumsey are going to win this, depending on the result from tomorrow. So, you guys, anybody that's going to finish in the top 5, DM us now or tomorrow. So especially if you win. So I have the tickets, in my StubHub account. I will make sure I get them to you first thing Tuesday morning. And so you can go see the Cavs clinch the number 1 seed on Tuesday nights. That'd be an awesome win tickets to the game. They're going to clinch the number 1 seed. So good luck to both Jason and Owen. And for Tim Daniel, for Skylar Webker, I am Kevin Lynch. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always,
go Cavs.